I wasn't even going to make a video, but I was looking at Osama bin Laden killed as raid is watched live by Obama. Remember this story? When Barack Hussein Obama bin Laden was talking about himself. But anyway, I think Dick Cheney just gave it away with Mount Rushmore coming up.
100% confirm his identity. His body was lowered into the North Arabian Sea early this morning.
May 2nd, 2011.
But Americans don't believe the threat from Al-Qaeda.
But Americans don't believe the threat that, yeah, his body was... Just kick him into the sea. Is that him? Yeah, we took pictures of him. It's the same one. 100% DNA evidence. Just kick him off into the sea.
100% confirm his identity. His body was lowered into the North Arabian Sea early this morning. But Americans don't believe the threat from Al-Qaeda has died with him.
But Americans don't believe what I just said. Oh, no, actually, a lot of people did believe that. That's what made him feel so great, because the biggest terrorist on planet Earth has been killed. Look at that pinky. Doesn't that look like Jonathan Kleck's bent pinky? I'm just saying. Kind of looks like it.
We're seeing
Al-Qaeda has died with him.
Worst thing we could do now is let down our guard, and I think we need to maintain our vigilance. Assume that there'll be other efforts made,
Other efforts made, mounted like Mount Rushmore, the Hoover Dam first, and then it looks like there'll be other efforts made in mountains. So George Washington, Abraham Lincoln. Us really doesn't want to focus into that. If you were to ask somebody directions, excuse me, sir. Sir, can you... I really wanted to focus in so you can see it. Sir, can you help me? Do you know how to get to the other side? That's that? No? You don't? How about you? Because why do you all have shadows on your eyes? As if you're just looking down like, no, I'm not. How about you? Theodore? Do you know where the door is? Theodore Roosevelt? Abraham Lincoln. How about that wounded head? How about your wounded head? Man, it looks like somebody shot you in the head. And it also looks like you're bleeding down here. Or is that the blood at the cross? Because Abraham, it looks like somebody shot you in the back of your head, because this is your head. And it just looks like someone shot you there. And the proof is it's bloody down at the bottom. The trajectory of the bullet wound that goes in here and out, down, as you can see, side of his face. With blood trickled down there. It could be the hill, the brow, where people have been just maybe a bunch of people went to that mountain who thought they were Jesus, and then Satan tempted them and said, "Look, you're Jesus, right? All right, well, cast yourself, jump down, because your angels will catch you." And they're like, and then so they're on the brow of the hill, like, yeah, they will, won't they? You're right, Satan. Ready to catch me, guys? And then, meow. More. But either way, if I was, I don't know, if I was looking for direction from someone, from one of these four, I'd say I would feel more comfortable asking Thomas Jefferson here, because they all have shadows around their eyes, as if they're either looking down or just not interested, and just they have like the leave me alone face. Tommy here, his eyes are wide open, they're bright. It looks like he would be willing to help you out if you were a stranger and you needed to get across the river or something.
But there's another man, not part of the group, watching all
July
this
30th.
from the shore, and he walks up to the horse where President
July 31st,
Jefferson is
2022.
sitting and asks him if he wouldn't mind helping him, ferrying him across the river. Jefferson says, "Sure, absolutely, hop on."
You're a good man, Thomas Jefferson, for doing that. Because you just have that face like the other ones just have, like they're just not interested. And you have that face like you're willing to do that for a regular citizen.
The other side of the river, one of the members of Jefferson's group goes to the man and says, "I have a question. Why did you go to the president and ask him to help you?" And the man was shocked. He goes, I didn't know it was the president. Keep in mind, there was no social media in those days, no news that people could really get a visual of who the president was. So he didn't know. And he said, "All I know is that some of your faces was written the answer no. And on some was written the answer yes. His was a yes face." Reconciliation is God looking at you
agree.
with a yes face, saying, "Yes, I will accept you. Yes, I will
even though he looks like
you.
Hitler.
Yes, I will adopt you. Yes, I will make you my own. Yes, you can be my son, my daughter." That is reconciliation. I want to give you 4 aspects of reconciliation.
Now, remember, aspects are also different types of specks.
Great story. Our third president, know who that was? Jefferson, Thomas Jefferson.
Thomas Jefferson. It's right there. Third president. So Thomas Jefferson is in between George Washington and the turtle, Bert, which is also the beaver. When you turn it a little bit further, there's that beaver look to it. And beavers build dams. And Thomas looks like a happy camper.
Jefferson, Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson, our third.
It's interesting also how as soon as the Georgia Guidestones got destroyed on July 6, 2022, and today is only 31st of July, 2022. So it happened in this month. This month is almost over. And then right after that happened, I started thinking about Mount Rushmore within 2 days. And I've done a lot of videos about it, and the titles are in the videos. So I'm talking about Mount Rushmore, and it's continually getting confirmed that that's at least the area that is the most important piece of property to learn about right now, today, is right there at Mount Rushmore. And those that know, they'll continually help me understand more bits and pieces.
The president was riding his horse with a group of people, a group of men, government men across.
So he was riding his horse with George Washington, Teddy Roosevelt, Abraham Lincoln, group of men, South Dakota. Things go south. Even Dick Cheney gave it away earlier with talking about like another terrorist attack. In other words, thank God Osama bin Laden is dead, because there won't be any more attacks like on the mountain that was. It's a good thing he's dead, right? Yes.
The country, or across this part of the country where he was in the northeast part of the United States. And he comes to a river, and because of the excessive flooding, the bridge that they wanted to cross has been washed away.
Well, let me take a look at the landscape and see if I see anything like that. You're talking about a bridge washed away. It does resemble water, like a flood of water overflowing, passing through a river of water. That was the Red Sea was split. This isn't red. Although that's red. Maybe even like the blood spot on Pet Goat 2. And for some reason, Donut was showing some kind of spot that looked like the blood spot. This woman, maybe she had a problem of bleeding for 12 years. But it's also a rocket ship blasting off, like a time capsule. Time machine saves you a lot of time. You can get to Mars in 30 seconds. I heard that you can get to Mars in 30 seconds in one of these bad boys. Not sure exactly where they're stationed at, but it could be underground, like right here, because it's showing you what it looks like above ground, just letting you know what goes on underneath the ground, is one of the theories that I have. Just one of the thoughts that I have. This may even be looking like an eagle in this direction. The eye over here. The body. Or lion. It's amazing to me how they can carve, design any kind of rock. It's just because that's really there. You can really go there and take a look at it. And you'll see from a distance, this is how you guys made it. You look from above to see how things start to blend together in live form as they're shaping this out. And you're like, no, down to the chisel about 3 more inches out of the bottom here. We need to get that turtle coming up, looking like it's coming out of the side of your face there, George. So chisel up 3 more inches in this area here, and then we'll get that design out of it. Mount Gilboa. Mount Rushmoriah, Jacob's Ladder. This kind of looks like, I can't get any closer. Kind of looks like red at the end. And then the whole body forming into a dragon altogether. Even kind of looks like his tail goes down here, this area, and just hovers over the Mount Rushmore with these four guys on their horses, riding together. Thomas Jefferson helping someone get across the other side of the river. The guy didn't even know that it was him, the president. He was just asking somebody. I guess because George here, you can tell if George gets kicked off the YouTube platform and he goes in a different platform, continually making videos, I don't know if I would be following George too much because YouTube's the place. If I get kicked off YouTube, I'm done talking. I'm not heading over to other platforms. I only headed over to other platforms to connect with people that headed over there in case at the time YouTube would shut them down. I still want to hear what they got to say, but YouTube is the place. It's the temple. This is the place right here. So it all happens here. So if people start going in different directions, it means that they're getting killed off or beheaded or taken out, and you won't see them again. But they're still alive. But in the Bible, they're dead. So even though I had some good times, Abe, it looks like you have a no face. Theo, door. I mean, you've showed me the door. I appreciate that. And George over here being two-faced, double-crossed, two-faced as a male face and a female face. But a female face underneath the male mask, two-faced. And then Theodore. I mean, if that's you, Theodore, if you're Theodore, if you're Thomas Jefferson, you resemble like Doubting Thomas, something about being doubting, or not even connected at all. Just you are one of the presidents, which means you have had control of things more than most people would in the world and know. I love how prominent that line is to separate it to show you.
So they have to ford across the river on their horses against the current. So a few men venture.
Oh, against the current. Remember I did the video where I said it looks like, if you look closer, and going down the river, that it looked like the beast were going into the water and trying to, like, basically they're going against the current. As if this is all water flowing in one direction, or even flowing over the hill, and then they're coming up. I can't remember where that image was to show you the best picture I had. Here it is. They're coming up the hill, like one on the back of another, climbing up the hill, and this is all water flowing down in their face as they're trying to make it up over the hill here. These beasts, all that being water. Well, that looks like water just flowing over where the red and the blue pill is. Jacob's ladder all the way down to the portal. A little red here. Wasn't Jacob's ladder a gateway to heaven? And isn't that going to be played out literally too? Isn't there a place on earth where it's considered Jacob's ladder? And at that area, there's a way to get in, to go up or down. But in order to find that place, it's like you got to climb a mountain against the current with a flood trying to knock you off the mountain. You're going through that narrow path there. Has a different look to it. Like, this is the skull right here, and this is like the alien eye. So the mouth would be over here somewhere, the nose area. This is the head, entire head. Horse. Is that a horse also? The nostril being here. The eye is the horse or the animal. Because if they're riding their horse, I'm sure Paul, I mean, isn't Paul here somewhere too? Riding he was on his high horse and he got knocked off. See it more in the nose. I love how it turns into a dragon face. It's like that. Going from this image. And it also has that eagle. His hand is back here like this. The back of his arm and his claws like being back like that. The back of his body. And he has these 4 under his wing. That is his wing, these 4. Bird's head.
Venture out, and a few more men venture out. It's a pretty large group. But there's another man, not part of the group, watching all this from the shore, and he walks up to the horse where President Jefferson is sitting and asks him if he wouldn't mind helping him, ferrying him across the river. Jefferson says, sure, absolutely, hop on. And puts him on his horse, and Jefferson, the president, takes him across safely on the other side of the river. On the other side of the river, one of the members of Jefferson's group goes to the man and says, I have a question. Why did you go to the president and ask him to help you? And the man was shocked. He goes, I didn't know it was the president. Keep in mind, there was no social media in those days, no news that people could really get a visual of who the president was, so he didn't know. And he said, all I know is that some of your faces was written the answer no. And on some was written the answer yes. His was a yes face. Reconciliation is God looking at you with a yes face, saying, yes, I will accept you. Yes, I will forgive you. So that's total depravity. Alienated begins in our minds. You remember in Genesis 6, before God flooded the world, that he gives insight into what people were thinking? It says, every intent of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. Now, I've noticed this, you've noticed this. Nobody likes to hear this. There's not a person out there who's unsaved that likes to hear that they are alienated and separated from God and that they're sinners. That's not good news to them. That's like, what on earth? You know, that's usually where we don't begin there. We usually begin with, do you know God loves you, right? We want to give them that message and then tell them the problem. But nobody likes to hear this truth. It is not the current philosophy of the world. The current philosophy of the world is this: I'm okay, you're okay. Everybody's good in their own way. Everybody's good in their heart. Really? If you're okay and I'm okay, if we're all okay, then why is this world so messed up? Step by step. Yeah, I'm not what I could be. I'm not what I should be. But I'm not what I was. That's the gauge. You can see to the ground. But realizes that he is standing exactly where the engineer is going to land. Something came over him. And he braced himself on the poles of that scaffold. And he absorbed the full impact of the fall. The man fell on him. The impact slightly injured the engineer who fell down, but severely hurt the laborer. Several bones were broken, and after he recovered, he could no longer work. He was severely disabled and handicapped. Years later, a reporter found that man, that worker, now handicapped, and asked how the engineer has treated him since the accident. He was wondering to write a story. And the man said, he has given me half of all he owns, including a share of his business. He's always concerned about my needs, never lets me lack anything. Almost every day he gives me some token of thanks or remembrance. You see, the engineer who was saved became the servant of the one who saved him. That's the gauge. Became the servant of the one who saved him. Back to verse 20. And by him to reconcile all things to himself, by him, whether things on earth or things in heaven, having made peace through the blood of the cross. Of the cross. Blood of the cross. Through the blood of the cross.
Is this not a crossroad? Even if there's nothing other than, like, there's no revelation of anything, and it's not really Jacob's ladder, it's not really a portal, or it's not really, when it comes to the four presidents and him being shot, it's all irrelevant. But would this not be a crossroad going from planet Earth to heaven? Let's go to that one little spot there. Go to that. Let's go to that eye. Florida's down here. Just look down here. Where'd it go? There it goes. I think I may have found another bullet wound. This time it's to George Washington. Looks like a bullet wound to the throat almost. Chest. Center of the chest. Seems like a deadly mountain.
Now, look at verse 22. In the body of his flesh through death. There's two clauses, and they basically mean the same thing. In two different verses, two separate clauses, but they're describing exactly the same.
He had to go through death, like the fear of it. He had to go through death through his body, like in his flesh, walking the earth. He had to go pass through death. Oh, death, where is your sting? At Golgotha, the place of the skull. This is also a skull-looking type from the top, because it's like that dragon there. It's his skull. Like a spine going down or something. Conquering death through the flesh in physical form. There may even be a scorpion sting purpose strike over there. And the blood of the cross. This is being a crossroad. You're crossing planet Earth to hell. You're crossing planet Earth to heaven. Meeting at the crossroads where it all begins, like as if being the portal to getting out of this earth, up or down, crossing here, meeting at this crossroad. There is blood there. And to be able to cross paths, which is the spirit world finally connects with the physical real world. And maybe there was supposed to be an event to take place here anyway, because even Dick Cheney said it. I got rid of the video, but he hinted towards a mountain, a possible another terrorist attack on the United States of America. And then if you had it planned up from the beginning, where this is the literal mountain, that when you see it in Petco 2 and it's blown up, that it's really referring to the football stadium connecting with when Barack Obama came to Philly at the Lincoln Financial Field, the football here. Over here looking like 17 JFK, the Gold Bank, Chase Bank, 17 JFK, Comcast building, windows of heaven are open. This being on the shoulder. You get rid of that line, it looks like it's a shoulder and a head. Also a wounded head. And there's a shoulder on George Washington. But being up on a mountain, Abraham Lincoln has a wounded head from above. It looks just like he got shot in the head. Right there. And even on the side of his front of his face, it's following the same direction. This crack in the head, this, and then blood pouring out. So what if this was meant for this to be hit like that instead, and it's not the Petco 2 Philly, Lincoln Financial Field, and people are fleeing. Maybe they live here in Philly and they're fleeing to get out of Philly to go flee to the mountains because of the fear of the noise. But this is really the target instead. And then when everybody's in there and that day comes, maybe it is a second 9/11 coming up, September 11th, 2022. Could be 21 years later. I think it's even 144 million minutes or something like that. 21 years. And then you're inside here, and then all of a sudden, because you might flee from the fear of the noise on a Sabbath, and things may be being destroyed and decaying already, like it is winter, with the events to take place, and it's time for everybody to flee because they got one more day, and you guys know that the second 9/11 would be on. Maybe people do know that. It's like, yeah, we know the second 9/11 is coming up, Robin, because we're fleeing, we're getting out of here. This world is going to shit, and so see ya. And then they go and run and they hide themselves in the caves and the rocks and the dens, and they say, hide us from the wrath of the Lamb, and let them not see our face, because we're going to start feeling the shaking inside. Maybe it's already set up for you guys to feel that way in there, like a movement thing, or it really will happen. And you get hit, and it's like, oh no, it was us. We did get hit. Hide us from the wrath of the Lamb. And so if you can meet here at the same event that was going to take place 21, like when the first 9/11 happened, that everybody, you guys know exactly when the second one would happen if that was planned. So imagine if it was planned and it was here, and I'm able to meet you here. So I can meet up, like I'm not literally going there, but I'm meeting you here in the clouds, and then you're seeing it because it's true. And this is not just a mountain where people don't have tons of places and mansions and stuff all throughout. I bet you there's millions of people in here, probably. Families and getting ready to come out and rule the earth. But it was perceived that everybody in here was evil continually. And then things have changed. So if these people come out of the pit, like if this is from hell, the portal to hell, and then they're going to come out. Well, when they do, they're going to come out and they're going to go up Jacob's ladder to go meet Jacob. That's probably a good thing, right? He looks like an alien with the head here, and his left shoulder is over here, like they have like, I don't know, shoulder pads, those aliens. Big alien head, nose, eye, mouth is down here, shoulder is over here. But this could be where I cross over and finally meet where everybody actually lives and where everybody is able to go up or down, because the landscape shows that a time capsule right here, a little space capsule, is taking off and going up, and that's the smoke hitting the ground. So that's going up. There's the blood reference. To be able to cross paths where spirit world finally hits reality, and the predicted event takes place right here, and then it's seen, it happens, and it dominates the entire planet. The news about about Russia, the rumors of Russia drop nukes on us or something, and the target has been Mount Rushmore. and there's no stopping it. It was going to happen regardless if anybody can predict it or not. But if you can predict it and meet them there, then you're crossing paths. And there's already blood here. So it's like the blood of the cross.
Peace through the blood of his cross, in the body of his flesh through death. Remember, I said something a moment ago. I said, to be reconciled with God, a transaction has to be made. To be reconciled with God, there has to be a transaction that is made. This is that transaction.
That would make the spirit, fantasy land, Lulu land that you think you live in, Robin, that kind of a fantasy land, because it's all spirit. Because there really is zero evidence of anything I'm saying. There's nothing I can actually prove besides people are communicating back and forth with each other on this YouTube platform, and I can prove that to them, the ones that are doing it. And if I'm off on certain things, they'll let me know that I'm off. So I'm hot or cold, hit or miss. In order for anything to be proven, there has to be the event. Like Gematria says, Mount Rushmore is the event to take place. And it's either, the event is either, or I can name a few different, the event will be an earthquake and it shakes and splits the mountain in two. And it's God's judgment on Mount Rushmore being on 9/11, 2022. Or the event is, it's more like the missile coming, or the bombs coming from missiles above and blaming it on Russia. Because as you can see, the trajectory, the things are going towards Philadelphia. As I've said, this looks like Lincoln Financial Field, football field, and this is Philadelphia over here. And it's showing you what's next. So Mount Rushmore could be the event that kicks off all of the major destruction all throughout America. Could be the one that starts it right here on 9/11. And the rest of them just keep trickling. It's like a trickle effect. Or it's like a comet, or the destruction. The destruction will be in Mount Rushmore, that some type of fire from heaven comes down and destroys and hits it real hard, like whether it's a meteorite, an asteroid, a fallen star comes from heaven and smashes right into the mountain because it's cursed ground. Mount Gilboa, Mount Rushmore, Abraham sacrificed his son Isaac on Mount Moriah, and it's the doorway, the portal, Jacob's ladder to get to heaven. And so this would be the target, because not only that, it even looks like a target just by the target that's pointing at it, like a bow and arrow or something. Then that's some kind of bow and arrow. You pull this back right here, the handle. Either way, it looks like it's a target. Looks like it's a drive-through movie theater. So either one of those events that happens at Mount Rushmore, whether it kicks off World War III or it's declared the second 9/11 because it happened on 9/11, 21 years later as the second one, September 11th, 2022, 21 years later. And then it also, these two over here, he's looking a little naughty. He looks like he's enjoying the show with his wife there, Tweety Bird or something, or a rabbit. They got a nice view. They're looking over here though. They're made to look right here. They can't see much though. So that would be the different ways that I would think the script was already planned out years on in advance, how this mountain would be split in two. And then let's just say that the person that was going to split this mountain in two was acting as Jesus. But he had the script and he knew what was going to happen. It was all written, and that's who he was playing out, and he's talking to the Lord God in heaven. And the entire time it was all a vision that was going to fail anyway. But along the way, people started talking they started to talk to the Lord, who is a spirit in heaven, the Father, and they started to basically jump on board. And then, just like this Pet Goat 2 video, it looks like people started to just hop aboard his boat there, because he's coming in the clouds right now. He has a crown of thorns around his head. You're not supposed to look for him in the clouds at one particular time. It's coming in the clouds. You'll see it. It's like a continuance. Like the spirit remains upon him. So he still isn't awake yet, fully. Because this is what's going on inside of his head, as he's showing you the wounded head of this one. See the serpent just coming out of his head. I mean, that is that or is that not fire that proceeded out of his mouth? That could also be the tree of life going down and then chopped. That's like a meat cleaver. But that's also why the swamp was getting drained. Right about. Well, anyway, wherever it showed you that the swamp was being drained by the guy that was in the swamp there. And then his chisel in his hand has the same exact look as the Georgia Guidestone's top piece when it was cut, when it was accidentally happened, and it was set up that way. And in his hand, he has that cleaver there, like he's one of the ones that are responsible for slicing and dicing. And so that would be as this angel here is falling upside down. Right there, the head, the legs. And then he's catching all types of fish. But he's catching black and white fish mixed together. Light and dark. It seems like he's catching both types of fish. His feet are like the flames of fire. And when he opens his eyes are like the flames of fire. His heart is burning. That's obviously the male-female. The male is laying on his stomach, but that's what comes out the rear. And Love Park is right on this section over here, and William Penn Building, and Free Willy. Willie needs to be free. So I never even thought of anything about that. But then Donut shows a spot. I think somebody commented in the comment section that the blood spot, I forget who it was, but I'll give you credit for saying that the blood spot may be that of the pet goat too. And I looked at that, I'm like, maybe have something to do with it. Who knows? In the meantime, he's still in. These are all birth pains. What you're seeing is all birth pains because he's still in the earth birth canal, waking up, being persecuted in his own head with his own worst enemy, the serpent in your own head. It looks like he's going to rise up from the nuclear explosion, and that could happen right here. That could be it right there. It's not like it's going to destroy the world. It's just going to destroy this particular area. But just like the first 9/11, everybody knew not to be there. Some people may be fleeing to that exact place to center of the United States, escape radiation, and Pet Goat 2, he's rising up from among the ashes. He's looked at as the Antichrist. Many people have said that. But he rises above the ashes. Is he even awake yet? Is his eyes open yet? Nope. He's still sleeping. He's still sleeping. He's doing all this in his sleep, apparently. And as soon as he rises up, that slithering little serpent persecutor sees, as he's rising up from among the ashes, in real world, like he's still, that's him, like in his flesh, and he's like sleeping. This is the spirit world, where he is, as soon as he woke up, that serpent said, oh shit, I am out of here. Because you can see the way it looked, like he's so gone. Has he seen that crossroad? Uh-oh. He's out of here. Because he knows that he gave the head nod just like he did in the end when he finally woke up. Right there. So he did the same head nod as the one with the wounded head and did live. So that's like Spirit Land. The winter, you seen it was winter. It's inactivity and decay. Their right eye has been plucked out because it looks like when they did this and turned into an insect from the pit, they added AI mixture because that shows you the alien, and she also has boobs. So, and it's like this boy here is unpackaging his wife with inside of him because she also has a gun. Untying the bow, instead of the bow tying things together, untying the bow, the swamp is getting drained. He's spinning and rising in the air as if it's a rapture, but he's not going anywhere. And his right eye is plucked out. Dressed in white, but as you can see, he's not actually going anywhere. And this is the same exact place that was blown up. So all this happened after the explosion. And down here, it looks like it's showing Philly. Because here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of those. Whatever it is, it's showing you. As soon as it gets hit. One, two, three, four, 5. The only thing I don't see is this wrench here, but there's an opening. There's that there. It looks like the same thing. And this is an explosion. Down there in the corner, see the knife? It's the same thing. See the yellow behind it? Still. But he rises up from among the ashes as soon as it's a bloody spot. So there's blood, and then there isn't blood. But there's blood here. And Skip talking about Thomas Jefferson today, or yesterday. So there's the blood, and then there isn't. And he's in the birth canal right now. You see the water, the water breaking. The water's breaking. Here it is. Birth is coming. So this is people are going to look at it as the birth of Antichrist, and people are going to look at it as the birth of Christ. There's the birthing canal, and the Hoover Dam just exploded. And John Teclec told you that that was the beginning of birth pains.
I want to show you a couple 11s. Here's an 11. There's an 11. Here's an 11. And there's a big 11.
And ironically enough, from the very first upload from YouTube, their very first video that they uploaded was on the 23rd of April, 2005. My very first upload was April 2nd, 2017. And that happened to be 11 years and 11 months and 11 days. And it was like a birthing from the time that you guys started this platform, that I called on and I'm like, I think I need to make a video. And it just so happened to be 11 months, 11 years, 11 months. And 11 days later.
You see it? I want to show you something else. It's the female reproductive system. Look at it. The ovaries going here, and on the other side it goes down to the uterus, and there's the birth canal.
So there's the birth canal. And then the Hoover Dam blowing up on the 19th of July.
Touring the dam and shot this video. Take a look. You can see that thick black smoke billowing from the structure of the dam. So we also have live images there that I believe we can go to, and that's what you're seeing right here. It looks like that fire is now out, but the Boulder Police Department says that they are in the process of gathering, working on their investigation of it and the cause of
There, as soon as she said cause, 666. Cause of it. July 19, 2022. The Hoover Dam exploding. So it's the birth canal that exploded right here, which means that's part of the birth pains. And in Petco 2, this is what you're seeing are these birth pains. You're also seeing him come in the clouds. Because he's above. You see the river down there? That may even be like an alligator. But he's definitely in the clouds. It may look like he's on water, but this looks like a water that's more deep than where he's actually at. He's higher up than that water, with the crown of thorns on his head. As he's doing a lot of this, as he's still sleepwalking. And in his head was that serpent that was persecuting the egghead. But that's him this is him in real life. And then when it showed the persecutor, that's in his head as he's still persecuting there. So imagine that's you in the spirit world, and that's you also. That's just your evil side of you, that the one that never wants to shut up and always wants to just have you live in an uncomfortable state of mind. Always. So that's him. And he's like, ah. But then he rises up from the nuclear explosion, like the event of Mount Rushmore. And as soon as that eyeball sees that, he is. Because he wakes up and it looks like he has a lot of confidence just in his look. One good thing is he has a clear head now. You seen inside of his head was pretty cleared out. Everything's cleared. So all that's taking place in the spirit, he finally wakes up. And then the rapture apparently coming up next. Because this is in the winter. Pray that your flight's not in the winter right now. The day before. Because that could be the day before the 9/11 happening in Philly. Or, 12 noon. Something gets hit at 12 noon. Like fire comes down from heaven. And it's dark out. Well, maybe because the destruction turned the skies dark. But his right eye is bruised. And if your right eye offends, you pluck it out in the literal form. But he's not going anywhere. He just looks like he's just spinning in circles. So that just reminds me of like a lie. But the rapture's supposed to happen. You're supposed to meet up at the Lincoln Financial Field. Philly's down there. You're fleeing in the winter time. Well, it's really still, is it fall? June, July, August, September. I think it's fall. A fall of man. So that might happen like then. I don't know if that shows like an eagle or something, but Philly being down in that direction. So if that was a rapture, it doesn't look like anybody's going there. And this thing turns into something that has like bear claws. And it has a similar look. The claws in the front. Similar. And so there he is. There's the bird. Look, the flowers are blossoming. So as soon as he wakes up, it's all destroyed. And then it looks like he can just ride off into the sunset. I remember I seen Click make that movement before one time like that. It seems like the bear trap. So there he goes.
And that's the means by which we can be reconciled to God. Now, remember I said something a moment ago. I said, to be reconciled with God, a transaction has to be made. To be reconciled with God, there has to be a transaction that is made. This is that transaction.
Yeah. Financial transaction. The proof that people, because anybody can talk, and they can talk, and they can have, you can ask them, and it's like they'll just give you that no look on their face. You ask them, it's not going to do it. Yes, George Washington, George Bush, Georgia Guidestones. Nope. Ask Theodore Roosevelt. Theodore? Door? Can you show me the door? Hello? Theodore? You don't want to talk. Abe? How about you, Abe? Abe, can you show me the... Oh, never mind. You have a wounded head. I'm sorry. You've already been shot. You're not gonna be any good to me. And then you go to Doubting Thomas. You say, Thomas, are you willing to make a transaction and prove that you truly do care and believe? Because if not, just like the others, they can talk all they want, but money, means of currency, seems to be the most important thing in people's lives. So if you're rich as hell, damn it, and you have the means and you have faith in making a transaction, then that's what you do. You make a transaction. And it becomes a physical manifestation where you've come to the crossroads by the blood of Christ at the crossroads. And you make it real. Instead of just spirit fantasy land, it's an actual real thing. Like, oh, so this is what God is all about. Oh man, because God is a spirit that moves through people. Serpent does the same thing. God can do the same thing, but he moves through people and he dominates. And in the end, it doesn't matter who you are. If you're not on board, you're not going to make it. Doesn't matter what highest position on the planet, that spirit at this time is dominating, is taking over. So whoever's not on board will just you're going to get wiped out by the flood. But Thomas, he definitely looks like a guy that would say yes. Yep. Let's make spirit world and reality world collide and come to a crossroad. But you gotta find, it's gotta be there needs to be a blood sacrifice. There you go. There's your blood sacrifice. Abraham. You don't need to slice up Isaac, take him down from the mountain. Because God provided himself. A ram, he provided a ram. Not a Dodge Ram. But, I mean, it would help to have one. You can provide that, too.
Here's how it works. Our bank account was in the red
Now you're talking.
before God. We are bankrupt before God. The wages of sin is death, so separation.
Yeah, you were bankrupt before God in the spirit, but God was bankrupt before you in the literal.
We were alienated, and crime demands payment. For God to justly forgive sin, He can't just wink at it and go, yeah, not a big deal. That wouldn't be just. That wouldn't be fair. So payment has to be made for God to justly forgive.